everyone, and welcome to episode 43 of Thrashcast. And I'd like to, usher in my partners in crime with Kenneth and Bill there. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, sir.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be discussing Extreme Aggression by Kreator, 1989, landmark of a hell of an album. There's the cover. I wouldn't say it's iconic, but hey, we're going to discuss that a little later on.
Yes, yeah.
One hell of an iconic album, that's for damn sure.
And then the remastered version with the annoying remastered on the bottom.
Well, yeah.
Which we don't like.
Yeah. So to get things started here, just a little bit of housekeeping. Want to thank everybody for tuning in, and want to thank everybody for getting our views up and leaving us some messages and stuff. And please continue to do so. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before March 28th, I think was my date. So I gave an exact date, 12/01, March 28th. So
we
we're
gotta get
currently
moving.
at what, Ken? 555?
Yeah, 555.
So we're just about there. So we need to get moving on this. But anyways, where can you find us? So if you're tuning in for the first time, obviously you can find us on you can find us on YouTube. You can type in Thrashcast and they'll come up a whole bunch of our episodes. But you can find us on Horror Metal Sounds Kenji.2864. You can also find us on Spotify and on Rumble. So, check us out. You can on Spotify, it's great if you're trying your car or whatnot. On YouTube, definitely check us out. And we're up. I mean, we got 43. This is our 43rd episode. So there's a whole stream of episodes there. And the interesting thing is our first episode was a Kreator album.
That's right.
So that's kind of cool, So here we are,
back
43 later, 42 later, and we're hitting Kreator back on the back end again. So
probably
so
not the last either.
Sorry?
Oh, and probably not the last time either.
No, definitely
lots
not.
more.
Yeah, for sure, Billy. I'm sure we have so much thrash albums. This is going to be like a 10-year project.
Yeah, it could go on for quite a long time.
That's right. So we're going to start with our usual kind of thing we do here, where we'll go through our what's spinning and news. And Ken, why don't you take us off?
Sure. So I just read that death metal legends Benediction are putting out their new album Ravages of Empire April 4th. So on Nuclear Blast Records, album number 9. So they've been around for quite a long time. Of course, vocalist Dave Ingram returned on the previous album after leaving the band for quite a while. That was back in 2020. The album called Scriptures. That was apparently a big money maker for them for that return album. So they're back with a new album coming out, new dates. No Canadian dates confirmed yet. But I think I know Billy goes to Wacken, and they are going to be at Wacken this year. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it. I hopefully it's a good album. I like the last album. Scriptures was pretty good. So we'll see where this one goes. I know we've already talked about this, but Exodus replaced, Steve is gone, Dukes is in. I know that people are like, yeah, good, bad. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't personally like it myself, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. According to what I was reading, Rob apparently has mended his fences with Gary and the band. So apparently whatever beef he had, it's been settled. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what they put out for music-wise. But
Billy made a good point when we were chatting like online about it there last week when the story broke, and you said, Billy, that this is the problem with Exodus, like why they're so just here, because they can't seem to get a consistent, like they just keep going back and forth with members and around, and it just. Hearing that, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was April Fool's Day, but I mean, what's your thoughts, Billy?
Yeah, no, I'm the same as Ken. I'm a Zetro guy. Like,
same here.
I like Zetro singing better, but I also think, like I've raised this on my Instagram channel, and a lot of people agreed that Zetro's are really good for the fans. Like he's somebody who's always out in the open. He goes to a city. He's out strolling around, talking to people. He's so friendly, doing pictures. That's a connection you have with the fans. Like very few people do that, right? Like I know Death Angel is someone who also does that, but usually you're charged for that kind of thing these days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll miss him, and I'll still buy the new album with Rob Dukes, right?
Same
Like
here.
I own the other Exodus albums with them. They're all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I just prefer Zetro.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, it just like, and especially with the momentum from the last album, which was so good. I thought Persona,
The tour was good. Like it was.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think I heard somebody say there were a number of venue downgrades in the U.S., but Toronto and Montreal sold out, and Toronto was near sellout.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that's true in the U.S. or not, but
Wow,
Yeah. That's
that's
crazy.
man. Do you have anything else, Ken?
No, that's it for me this week.
Okay, Billy, what have you been listening to, or some news from you?
well, Ken stole my first item. I'm a big Benediction fan, so I thought I even did a post today
Oh,
when I
did you?
was
I didn't see your
saying
post.
the scriptures
Oh, I
uh,
didn't see that.
and saying in celebration of the news. So, but that's okay. So what else did I have? Yeah, just one thing. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but you guys always talk about them. Did you guys see Corrosion of Conformity?
Yes.
We're doing posts from the studio, so
Yep.
they finished their pre-production and are moving ahead. So they don't have a date, so I don't know when that is. But and then the last thing is an odd item. I still can't figure it out. Like on Instagram, 200 Stab Wounds posted two new clips. Just
Yes.
like 30-second clips of songs, and they're like songs not from the last album.
Oh,
Um,
I
so
didn't see
what
that.
so what the hell's going on there, right? Like that album's pretty, not new, but fairly
Yeah.
new, right? You wouldn't expect them to be working on a brand new album, but I don't know, maybe they are,
Or
'cause-
EP?
and
Maybe an
they don't
EP?
say anything.
How about
Plus,
an EP?
yeah, they had well, they just had an EP for the decomposition
Right, but
there.
maybe they're doing. Maybe I'm saying that they might be doing another one. I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
maybe. But that EP that just came out, that was
Yeah.
their original material. That was
Yes,
Right.
re-release of Metal Blade of the first thing they ever did.
that's
Right.
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 So these are different than that. So I don't know. And then they're just these audio clips, like they're white with the music symbol. So it's not like it's part of a video they've done or anything
Mhm.
professional. And
Yeah, I
they
don't
say
know.
Nice.
nothing. So I don't know. Like a lot of the sites are picking up saying what's going on.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool. Hopefully, a new album would be wicked.
Yeah,
Be
I
kind
don't
of
know.
quick for a new album, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying. It's way too quick.
They just put one out, and you think they're going to want to tour with that with the new material for a while before they go back into the studio. But
Unless it's an EP, like maybe they had a couple of tracks left over from the album and they're gonna give it a go on an EP.
yeah, maybe
Well, their
makes sense.
popularity right now is at an
Yeah,
all-time high. So
Yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah.
the time to strike while the iron's hot. I mean,
yeah.
that their album was just, I mean, it sold like wildfire and did so well, and Metal Blade got right behind it, which is great. And that was an amazing. I mean, I think it was in all three of our top 15 albums of the year, I
Yep.
believe.
He was number one.
Yeah, you number one exactly.
And hell, I mean, the tour for that album, the stop in Toronto, I couldn't even get a ticket. I
That's
was
right.
like
Yeah,
a waiting list. It had sold out. Like most of the tours sold out.
that's
Yeah,
insane. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess maybe that's the answer, right? Like Metal Blades, like let's get an EP out, like while things are going good.
That's probably
Yeah,
Uh,
makes
yeah.
sense.
But in terms of what's spinning, my record shop had I don't know why all the municipal waste vinyl records were on sale.
Ooh,
Nice.
So there were two that I was missing that got shipped last week. So going back to the beginning,
oh, that's a good album.
all,
Yeah.
so that goes all the way back to what would that be like 2004 or three or
Yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And then a little bit later, Slime
Oh, great album. Yeah.
Punishment, right? So yeah, I've been spinning. I mean, these are so much fun and
Yeah.
so always a good time to spin some municipal waste.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's it for me.
Okay, cool. The only just a little bit of some sad news there. I'll bring up the rest in peace for John Sykes, the
Yeah.
legendary guitarist who unfortunately lost his battle, a very private battle with cancer at 65 years old, which, my God, is way too young, and kind of shocked the metal community with just that happening. I don't think it was well known and
I didn't even know he had
well
cancer.
documented, and he kept it very private.
Yeah.
He's Thin Lizzy, White Snake, Tigers of Pantang, and what is it, Ken? Blue Murder?
Blue Murder, yeah.
Yeah, which I listened to. Ken told
Great
me to
album.
check it out. It was a good album. That's a really good album.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hard to find though. If you can find it, it's out of print now. So if you can find a copy of it, good luck. But
And who's that? Sorry, did you say Blue Oyster Cult or
no, Blue Murder?
Blue Murder.
Oh, Blue Murder. I don't know him in that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a rock. It's heavy metal with Vinny Appice was in it.
Yeah.
The drummer in it. It's really good stuff. You should look it up. I think they were a threesome.
Yeah.
Good band.
So just our thoughts and go out to his family, friends, and obviously everybody's fans. I mean, in some way or another, odds are every metalhead has listened to his work through some channel or through some band, which is pretty common. I think there was a chance. He had a chance. I think he had turned it down to play for Dio in Dio's band at one point. So that would have been really, really interesting. So, but anyways,
I can see him playing Dio.
Yeah. So what I've picked up lately, I've got the latest, the new Halo Effect
good.
album, and holy cow, March of the Unheard. This is a fantastic album, and I got to be honest right now, it should make my top 15. There's a lot of lists, and we're going to be talking about releases. That'll be our top 10 later on about what we're most excited and looking forward to. But this one here, it's great. Came out a couple weeks ago, and I was able to pick it up. It was kind of a drag because I went to my record store and they didn't have it. So on my way walking out, I ordered it and got it 2 days later. I also picked up this one here I ordered before Christmas, and it came in, Bedsore.
Okay.
So this is pretty cool. Dreaming, the strife for love. I don't know if everybody's, I know you guys are familiar with them, but they're kind of like maybe an out on left field kind of Opethy type band. It's kind of really cool stuff. And a buddy online, Ian Salisbury, set me up. Was in his top 15 of the year, and I kind of saw it and was like, oh, what's that? And I checked it out. He told me to check it out. It's pretty cool. Everybody should check it out. Definitely a cool album, a cool band, and just kind of weird, kind of out there. But that's what seems to be happening. We've got these really cool death metal bands, band like Opeth coming back at the end of 24, and this sort of metal kind of proggy kind of different stuff happening. I think it's going to be, and I think it's going to leach into 25, and we're going to get a lot of really cool releases coming up. So that's what I've got, guys. So we'll jump right into the questions. As just a quick, I'm not going to get into the whole history of Kreator here. We've already kind of talked about it. Although one of the questions I'm going to bring up that we talked about on the first episode, but this was their 1989, kind of their North American breakout album. So, and that has a lot to do with the cover art, which I'm sure Ken will have a lot of comments about. And a lot of the questions I posed to start are a lot about the record company, because this was, I believe, their first release with Epic Records. They got picked up by Epic, and kind of an important release and kind of an important stage in their career, because this was sort of opening the floodgates to what I think the North American market was. And they were, it's even said, like I've read online, that Epic Records was kind of looking for the next Metallica, so to speak. And, what better than to kind of search for Kreator and kind of throw them in there. And definitely, at that point, Metallica is going in a kind of a different direction after 91. And then you have Kreator just kind of getting more and more aggressive leading up to those 90 albums as well. So I'll just let me pull up my questions here, guys. And then, well, the first question I have, which was the same question as before, is when did you guys first start listening to Kreator? I started on this album and kind of went backwards. What about you, Billy?
I think for me, it was somewhere in between Pleasure to Kill and Terrible Certainty, if memory
Yeah.
serves me right. So I was able to kind of buy them both around the same time. So yeah, I got totally hooked. Was also into Destruction and Sodom as well
Yeah.
at the time, and so yeah, it was when I was getting into all the good thrash stuff. So yeah, good memories.
And Ken, how about you?
Yeah, same with Billy. Pleasure was the first album I heard. Although the first one I actually bought was Coma of Souls. I didn't for some reason I wasn't able to get their earlier stuff. I was getting all the Destruction albums when they came out, but not
Yeah.
later. But I got Coma, and that's why I was really hooked. But Pleasure was the first album that I heard actually.
Yeah, it's another question. Like in general, how do you guys think the Ken? We'll start with you. In general, how do you think the German Teutonic thrash movement is doing? Like, I kind of do you think it's stronger, getting stronger, great momentum, weaker, kind of going off? What's your thoughts on the actual Teutonic thrash movement?
Now we've discussed a lot of thrash bands from Germany on the show, but I still think it's strong. I don't
Yeah.
think it's waned at all. I mean, as a matter of fact, when you think about it, you've got acts like Exhumer, Assassin, Accuser, Protector, and Darkness all reforming within the last 10 years and making albums again. So that's a good indication that the genre in Germany is, I guess, it's strong enough. I mean, Destruction is still kicking around. Sodom
They
is
got a
still
new album coming out.
exactly. Yes, that's right. It's coming out in I think in March. Yes, I mean, so yeah, I don't think it's bad, and I even hear that Kreator may be on the verge of putting out something new as well in the next year or two. So that's a good indication that the genre is doing well in Germany. I don't think it's doing bad at all.
And Billy being our kind of our resident traveling expert to whack in here. I mean, we all know the whole metal movement is huge in Europe and especially in German. What's your thoughts on the Teutonic thrash movement?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's up for debate. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole metal movement in Germany destroys North America.
Yeah.
I mean, not only are the Teutonic Four still putting out like classic albums, which you can't say that of all the four in the US. Uh, but like we know all our Canadian US thrash bands, if they could do it, they're going to always tour in Europe because the
Right.
Yeah,
bigger, the
exactly.
audiences are bigger. Most of them are on German record labels. Many of them are on European record labels.
Good
I mean,
point.
when metal died in North America, it was going strong in Germany. I mean, I sit there in Germany watching shows, and there's so many young German bands, and there's like maybe 50,000 people watching a young German band. I mean,
Yeah.
Anthrax or Exodus or Testament couldn't even pull in 5,000 here. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, like I just think it's not even up for debate. It's the scene itself is just so much stronger.
So, Billy, a good question to kind of throw on this. So, like, if Testament tours Europe, you find they eat it up, just like they absolutely they have that craving for metal, really, no
Oh yeah.
matter where it's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're playing like state venues that are 2, 3, 4 times the size that they play in North America.
Wow.
Right,
Wow,
like
that's
they're
cool.
massive venues. Like I talked to some guys I know on Instagram, and it's funny. I'm always like they're at the shows and posting pictures, and the venues are huge. And I'm like, oh my god, like that's incredible. And they're like, what do you mean? Like I thought in North America, metal bands play hockey stadiums, and I'm like, no, not even close. Maybe if you're Metallica, but
Yeah.
otherwise you're playing small clubs, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes Europeans think the audience is better than it really is in North America, but yeah, no, it's all in South America and it's all in Europe and
In
Germany.
Europe, yeah.
Cool. So another kind of question, and I'm kind of hitting on this Epic Records thing because I think I picture a young Kreator, coming out with their albums, in Germany, and then boom, getting to sign this huge record deal. I mean, I I guess the question is, like I say, Epic Records was looking for the next or another Metallica. I mean, there's no debate that with Metallica's and Slayer and Megadeth, Anthrax's success from the big American four, they just start throwing feelers out there for, it's the same thing as like the hair metal movement or glam metal movement, where all of a sudden, one or two make it big, and then everybody starts looking for that sort of genre. A couple of kind of side questions with that. Do you think that, had this happened in '89? So, what were we? 3 albums in?
Yeah,
4 albums. Yeah. So, had this happened in '86, I mean, how different? Like, how much do you guys think that Kreator would be that much even bigger today if they got on with Terrible Certainty, or even their debut album, and started off with that? I mean, I know Metallica didn't even do that, but then kind of jumped on, as they started gaining massive momentum. But just thinking maybe 2 albums in, had they gotten that about three years earlier, I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda, I guess. How much different and how much more maybe of a household name Kreator would be. Sticking with you, Billy, what's your thoughts?
I actually I don't think it would have made a difference. I
No?
don't think basically it's all about timing, right? Like, I truly believe the thrash scene peaked in 89, 90. And that
Right.
was a combination of multiple albums and bands then releasing 2 or 3 successful albums. Like, you look at what the last Overkill one we did. That was their peak set, that was right up there. In 1989, like all the bands that were putting out albums in 89, 90, that was the peak of the thrash movement. So I'm not sure and that's why all the major labels stepped in. And then that's why they dumped them all, I think, after like 92 or whatever. But yeah, I just think it's the time, right? Like, the success built on success. The bands were releasing some of their peak work, in my opinion. You turn on like Much Music in Canada or MTV, like, you're getting the best of like Slayer, you're getting like Anthrax, Metallica, the German. Like, just that was the perfect time. The videos were out there, the bands were getting their music out to the audience, and that was part of the popularity and the beautiful scene. That was like 88, 89, and 90, in my opinion.
Cool. Ken, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think the logistics is important.
Yeah.
In the sense that, see, Metallica built up their reputation playing small clubs.
True.
On YouTube, a friend of mine had alerted me to a video that was posted from Metallica playing a small club in Toronto in '85, and you could see just how insane James was on stage and how the energy at that show was. And this is a small club. So Metallica had the benefit of building their reputation by that. Kreator's from Germany. I don't think they would have been able to build that same reputation unless they were physically leaving Germany, moving to America to sort of play there. So I agree with Billy. I don't think it would have made a difference. I really don't.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because they are a really good band.
Oh, absolutely.
I also think the other point that I wanted to make was that Kreator were pretty raw. Their first couple out, maybe 2-3 albums are really raw. They didn't really start getting their sound until late 80s, early 90s. I mean, Coma and Souls is probably the epitome of their sound up to that point before they made the changes in the early 90s. But yeah, I don't know. I think logistics has a lot to play with it, especially for the Americans, because they live in America, so they have the benefit of going all around San Francisco, well, the Bay Area, and all around the states to tour, to build up their reputation. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
That's good points. Good points. And to the backside to that, to the question is, what do you think of? Like, they parted their ways with Epic, so they only had 2 albums with Epic. So Coma Soul is their next one. I felt they had massive momentum just heading into the 90s, and then boom, like and I believe I read they had a 3, 5, 7 album deal. I mean, everybody signed contracts with these big deals back then, in hopes that they would. But there's always the escape clauses for the record companies when the fads and the sounds change, and they kind of go back in and they renegotiate or they just drop. But what's your thoughts, Ken, on the momentum that they were building? I mean, you obviously love Coma of Souls, so I love it too. It's a great album.
I mean, Coma is going more into a more I wouldn't say commercial, but it has a much more refined sound, and so I can see that. But I don't know. These things, these questions, we talk about this all the time on the show. It's really hard to say. I mean, I get, at the end of the day, it's just changing of the times and tastes. Things changed. While you're getting early 90s, there were still good thrash albums.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good albums, but 91, 92, 93, things started to change. Some of the thrash bands that we like started introducing new elements or going into like a groove direction or adding industrial elements. It's just a sign of the times. I don't think there's one thing you can say, well, why Kreator did this, did that. And even Kreator themselves. I mean, after Coma, they started going off into punk and industrial. Like, they did the same thing. And you get to Endorama, and it's not even thrash. It's just like a goth metal hard rock album. I think it's just a sign of it. I don't think it's one thing in particular. It's just the sign of the times.
And Billy, what do you think? And also, just with that as well too, do you think that I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, Billy, what's your thoughts on this as well, heading into the 90s, and then Epic dropping them so quick? Yeah, my second part of the question was, and Billy, you can answer this. What do you think of, do you think they were disappointed with the albums, or was it just, okay, we need to get out of this and move on to the next kind of Nirvana type deal, or what's your thoughts? Because I read, Extreme Aggression and Coma both sold really, really well.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think the second part of your question still ties to the first, right?
Yeah,
it was the times, right? And there's no knock on Kreator. Everybody was getting dropped from their labels, right? Flotsam and Jetsam got dropped around this time. Didn't Overkill get dropped from their Atlantic? Every band did. I don't know about Anthrax.
Death Angel.
Yeah,
Anthrax as well. They got dropped as well.
So I mean, and again, I think to Ken's point, it's the time, right? People were done with thrash. It's back to 90 is the peak of thrash, and there were some great albums that squeaked through, obviously. But record labels had no. I mean, they were jumping on thrash because it was starting to sell with Metallica, and then once Nirvana broke, everybody wanted to sign those bands, right? So I think it's more about timing than Kreator. I think Coma of Souls is an awesome album, but they could have put out the best thrash album in the history of thrash, and it probably wouldn't have mattered. The label would have moved on from this style.
Yeah.
Ken, I got a question about the cover story.
I was just going to say, this style of music to some degree is underground. It's probably not meant for major labels. They don't understand it. It'd be great if you had major label support, but nowadays nobody's buying records, and so labels are useless either way.
That's why we like it, because it's kind of underground.
Yeah.
True. Ken, just you're gonna tackle this whole cover thing with the cover art, and my question was, obviously you can explain the whole situation with the cover and why the art changed from all the albums prior and Coma of Souls after, and people need to definitely Google and check out the original album art, which by today's standards isn't that bad, but maybe I can understand it. Do you think that, I mean, Epic obviously had so much push with this and pull with this. They wanted to get into this North American market. They were willing to do it. Do you think MTV, because I mean some of the videos and that, and the talk and the news was in heavy rotation. Do you think with that art, they would have probably passed, or do you think the band was just no, we need this, and we'll switch it out and go from there? And I because in today's standards, it's obviously nothing. We've seen so much different and more extreme since then. But what's your thoughts? Maybe you can explain the whole situation with it.
Well, the album itself is pretty tame. I think it's a tame. You can Google it to find
Yeah.
it. Philip Lavier, who did the earlier albums, did this one as well. So I'll set it up. So basically, it's a picture of this dude staring into a mirror. So you're seeing the back of his head in the foreground. In the background, his image is in the mirror. So he's got the Violent Mind. Their mascot is jutting out of the head of the guy. So it's not even that. It's tame. Like I would compare it to the first Anthrax album.
Yeah.
With, with the fist coming out of the mouth, which I think is much more graphic than that image that Philip did. So I find it funny. But yeah, apparently the label got cold feet. They just didn't like it. And I don't think Epic Records was known for being like, I don't think I know they carried Ozzy on the label, but I don't think they actually carried a lot of metal bands. So for them getting this band, it was probably a little bit, whoa, hot potato, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So they made the change. And I think it stinks. That cover, that second cover is awful. It's totally awful. But yeah, Philip did the piece, but Philip got a raw deal though with Kreator, and I'll just go off on a little bit of a tangent for a sec. Philip created the logo, so he created the original image, Pleasure to Kill. They didn't commission; they bought it from him, so he actually owns the rights to that piece. He's even responsible for the name of the band because they were going to call themselves Kreator with the C. And he said to their manager, Carl, their producer Carl, and said, "Well, you know what? If you're gonna produce it in the States, why not change the C to a K?" Because he goes, "I think U.S. kids will find it more cool that it's called Kreator with a K." So they did. They made that change. And Philip, at that time, after he did this cover, he moved to Greece and kind of fell out of favor. Wasn't doing album covers. He was living with his girlfriend in Greece, and once in a while, a tourist would show up with a Kreator t-shirt with his art on it. And he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But he always thought that it was just bootleg. He never actually thought about it. Years later, he realized that Kreator and the label were pretty much not giving him royalties for everything he did. Because from what he says, or what he's been known to say, is that his work on the t-shirts and all that are apparently the highest selling for a Kreator ever, all the earlier work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny that he kind of got a raw deal. And then years later, when they were doing Phantom Antichrist, Philip reached out to Carl again, because he was one of his contacts, and said, "I have an itch to do art, to cover art." So they're like, yeah, we'll do it, sure. So they were working out deals that he would do the cover, but apparently he brought up, well, I guess he had a right to, he brought up all the royalties. Like, I haven't been getting royalties. So they said, fuck it. They walked away from him because they didn't pay him the royalties. So obviously, as you all know, the cover went to Wes Benscotter instead. He did the cover. But yeah, I think, that Philip got a raw deal with a lot of those album covers, I think. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think that image, going back to what your original question, I don't think that image is even remotely scary at all to me. No. I don't get it. Lots of bands were doing that kind of like horrific artwork. I mean, I still think Anthrax is a much nastier cover to me over this one. But
what's your thoughts, Billy, on the original cover art?
But on that Anthrax cover, Ken, and you know me, I'm not a big Anthrax fan, so I don't know. But was that a major label?
They were already on Megaforce at the time. Yeah, that's right.
But I guess in fairness, Megaforce is a pure metal label, right?
True.
Like,
true.
They'd be cool with that. Whereas Epic are a bunch of like people who are used to dealing with pop stars.
That's what I mean. Like, wasn't Ozzy their biggest metal performer at the time on their label?
Yeah.
I mean, Ozzy has his own set of controversies, really, but
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to say, right? We weren't there in the discussions. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these questions, when we talk about them, are hard. It's really hard to say because I mean, it could be anything. It could have been one record, one AR guy going, "Oh, well, I don't like that." I don't know. You don't really know what they've. It's not an offensive cover. If you Google it, it's really not offensive. It's I don't even think it's not even that great of a cover, really. It's meh. It's all right.
But I gotta be honest, I don't hate this. Like,
Yeah,
the
Yeah, it's
original one
okay.
would be better. Like, I agree with you guys, but I don't hate this.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
well,
either.
I know a
they
lot of
look
people
like a
do,
thrash band.
but like,
Isn't it like deep purple? Doesn't it remind you of a kind of a deep purple kind of cover where the four dudes would always be on the cover and stuff?
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
standard, I think, you know?
it's simple, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't hate. Like, it'll never appear on any top 50 cover list. But I don't. Maybe it's because I love the album so much. I've grown to not mind the
Like,
album.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I mean, it's funny because the album is so iconic that even like the artwork doesn't really matter because we're sitting there kind of going like, it's such a great album. But just when it's sandwiched in between Terrible Certainty and Coma of Souls. So it's kind of like, what the hell? The art, man,
And then you get
what
this,
you
yeah.
know, a new fan
Yeah.
must sit there and go like, I guess they wanted to maybe just have a picture of themselves, but that's not the case. The case is it was probably a last minute decision. That was a stock photo they had. Slap it on there. I mean, they look cool on it. It's just, I agree. It definitely. And the interesting thing is about the T-shirts. You know, you had Varg when he went to go actually murder Euronymous.
Yeah.
Alleged. You know, he changed in the car on the way home, and it was a pleasure to kill.
Pleasure to kill, yeah.
Not really
Kind of
funny,
funny.
but kind of ironic, I guess.
Yeah, very ironic. Yeah.
At the shows today, they still sell Pleasure to Kill
Yes.
T-shirts, right? And most people buy Pleasure to Kill.
Oh yeah.
They'll
I
have
have a
the new
t-shirt.
band, they'll have the new
Yeah.
tour T-shirt. But like, all my Kreator T-shirts are spins of like Pleasure to Kill.
Yeah,
Like,
same
but
here.
no, their best-selling T-shirt.
Wouldn't Epic have taken over the catalog at that point though and released Pleasure to Kill and that, like under their own label?
No, I don't.
Those were all owned by Noise back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah.
you know what, Ken, I was just thinking maybe, like, again, we don't know, but that's a good point that you raised about Ozzy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Ozzy sold like millions of records with Black Sabbath and he was like a proven name, and all his solo albums sold millions. So he probably had, quite a bit of say with the record label, and Sharon like banging down their door for what he wanted. And Kreator could barely speak English. Like, they probably just maybe they thought they were getting that album cover and didn't understand.
Well, if you think of all the Aussie covers, some of those photo ones,
no, you're
pretty
right.
audacious for the time.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
But again, they know that's going to sell like 10 million copies or something. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah. The original Speak of the Devil there, where he's got the big chunks of meat coming out of his mouth. I love that.
Who else was on Epic?
Oh, Michael Jackson.
No, but I mean metal bands. Was there any other?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Wasn't there Faith No More? Wasn't on that label?
Maybe.
I think
they have a song called Epic, don't they?
Yeah.
It's called Epic. I don't know. We can look up later. I don't know.
Anthrax went to what? A&M Island.
You were on Island Megaforce. Yeah. It was a Island Megaforce Records.
Yeah. No, that's interesting though. No, just so that's our questions that we have there, and always I think the biggest thing I love the fact, I think what's neat about the situation with Kreator compared to a lot of bands, especially bands from Europe and all over, like, the European German, is that they got this super opportunity where they jumped into it. And it seemed like, for me, I felt Kreator kind of not really bowed down, but they played the game a little bit here to get in there. And I don't blame them one bit. And I kind of think that, especially in '89, people were buying records hand over fist and still, and I mean, that was going on for many years. And I just think, and then coming out with Coma of Souls, I mean, I know the times were changing. I just felt like they were really getting their sound and really kind of moving forward. And then all of a sudden to get slammed like that, it's just, I mean, I know a lot of the bands were, I mean, and the cover issue, like you guys were talking about, I mean, Metallica had the same thing with their debut was originally going to be called Metal Up Your Ass. And that got scrapped. And
different. I think the cover was different too originally.
Yeah, it was different.
It was different. So, so I guess everybody's got to kind of play the game a little bit, but I just, it's kind of neat that they were able to get that to get that chance with Epic and two massive records that were on it for
Oh,
sure.
wait a minute. Wasn't Suicidal Tendencies on Epic? Yeah, they
They
were.
could have been.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were on. Yeah, they were on Epic.
Yeah, because I don't know how accurate this list is, but it says Suicidal, Prong,
Prong.
This Grooves, but then it has Black Sabbath. That doesn't sound right.
No, I don't
The
think
Lamb of
so.
God. I don't know.
Lamb of God? Oh, that's interesting.
So I don't know if list is right. Like Sanctuary, Metal Church,
Yeah, Sanctuary, yes.
yeah,
Metal Church,
Sanctuary,
yeah.
yeah. Accept,
Yeah.
Annihilator.
Ah.
I don't remember Annihilator, but maybe.
No.
See, a lot of the Epic records had the same for cassettes. It was like they had the songs on the front, but the album art's kind of smaller, and they all kind of followed that. That's true. Accept would be, I remember the Accept records.
Faith No More was, yeah, they were on Epic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's interesting with Suicidal Tendencies, because Epic taking a chance on them, especially with the notoriety of everything from their name to their sort of association with gang culture to skater culture, that sort of thing. Even being banned in LA, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I guess they kept signing and signing and signing and looking for that next that next big thing that was going to come through, one of the big five, I guess.
Yeah, it never happened though.
Exactly. So we're gonna jump right into the album here. We'll go through the album track by track. So we'll start off with the opening song, the title track, Extreme Aggression. And Billy, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, no, it's a great way to open the album. So this will have a check mark for opener and closer.
Yeah,
in my opinion, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
This is like this and Betrayers, like a staple of the live show. Just a great like thrash anthem. Like the first thing when I hear this song and it applies to the album, this is probably I think it probably definitely is their best production to date.
right.
So this has got Randy Burns. I think the album sounds great. Some people complain about the guitar sound, but I don't really have any issue. And again, the band, to this point, the band has shown like incredible, strength in musicianship growth, and everybody's getting better. The songwriting is really good. So yeah, that kind of applies to everything. But so this track again, like I love Millie has a couple amazing screams.
Yeah.
On the track, that first one, like at the beginning, before it like really takes off, like it's bone chilling, that like scream, right? And so this is probably my favorite. This album just might be my favorite version of Millie. Like I love him on Pleasure to Kill, but it's a bit rough and raw, right? So here he's a little more refined, and you're seeing introductions of the melody in his voice that'll come much later, so you get that. So yeah, this again, I say it for this song, but it applies to them all. Like this is Millie at its best for me, anyways. But that's a personal thing. The songwriting's great. What I like about the song and all the songs, Extreme Aggression's like a great name, because like most of these songs, like they'll go into melodic parts, but they'll also go into extreme aggression parts. So I like to play on with the word. It really works. There's a really cool instrumental section at like 2.5 minutes, and that's what I mean. You get some melodic parts, and that's a sign of what's to come. And then that leads into this amazing like guitar leads. Like the riffs and the leads are outstanding on this album. And Millie in almost every song has an amazing vocal hook. And like here, it's like when he's yelling, "Society, what have you done to me? Society, bring you to your knees." Like I just love it. The drum pounding as he's saying it, and it just gets like super aggressive. Another bone-chilling scream. It's just a great track, great opener.
Yeah, I mean, that 30-second in scream, just like if you're a new Kreator fan and you were putting this on for the first time, you are like, oh man, I mean the vocals are just, there's such a refined brutality on this album. I love it. And like you said, you see the like as the albums were coming up to this point, definitely the whole band is just, they were morphing into what they're going to become, and I think that's so cool. Ken, what's your thoughts on this track?
Well, to piggyback off of what Billy was saying, the title "Extreme Aggression," it's reflected in all their lyrics, especially here because the whole song's about inner turmoil and societal influence, and then they're talking about this guy's descent into insanity, violent tendencies, and his vengeance against society for being wronged of whatever reason. So right off the bat, exclamation point. You get that scream, and then the tempo just quickens right there, and it's like, woo, for a thrash song, yeah, that would perk up anyone's ears.
Yeah.
So it's a great song all the way through. It's one of their very good unrelenting tracks, I think, and is a strong one. And I agree with Billy, it's a strong opener.
That's a great way to put it, unrelenting. And I get chills when I start talking about it because I'm so excited about this. I love this album. And I mean, it's just probably in my top 10 thrash albums of all time. And I mean, I love it. I do, don't get me wrong, I love Pleasure to Kill, love Terrible Certainty, love these albums. But I mean, this one just really hit it for me. We'll continue along, Ken, with you for track 2, No Reason to Exit.
Yeah, I like this song too. Like there's a galloping chug right at the start. And then it kind of ramps up. And like for me, like I just love there's a whole gung 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 part at the 121 part that I like. It's just relentless. It's just great tempo change. It's a strong song overall, very, very heavy, I think. Mm-hmm. And again, I like their lyrics because they're talking about breaking free from society because you're being constrained and you want your freedom. And yeah, this song has it like in spades. Like their fists in the air and it's like, fuck you. And it's another exclamation point in my mind.
Wicked. And I mean, at 219, those wicked guitar riffs leads into that solo. And I kind of wrote it down at 308. There's a cool vocalized chug. I love that. Billy, what's your thoughts on No Reason to Exit?
Yeah, like I call that out too, right? At 220.
Yeah.
Like that, then that leads into like a really cool like a guitar lead section. That's not your standard one. It's kind of innovative and unique. So I like it. But yeah, no, it's great. And then the riffs are like applies to the whole thing. There's so many great riffs on here.
Oh
like,
yeah,
Billy just backed up the truck and built these songs around these incredible riffs. And I like it. Like it slows down a bit towards the end. Gets heavier, but then the double bass drumming kicks in, and like the rhythm section's pretty good here. Like the bass and drums, like they can really elevate the heaviness of the song, and they'll get in and they'll tone it back down. But yeah, this is a good one. Like I really like it, and it's pretty catchy.
Yeah.
One of the more catchier songs, actually, probably even catchier than the first track. But yeah, it's good. I like it.
Wicked. Well, Billy, take us into track 3. You either love us or hate us.
Yeah, like I like this one. Like I don't know. I mean, Ken could talk about the lyrics. The lyrics sound like they might be cheesy. I don't know. Hopefully, there's like a great meaning to them. But for me, this whole song is like an earworm. It just sticks with me. The hooks are vocal hooks. I really like it. There's this is one that has a lot of interesting drum fills. So the drums really come to the front here. Again, another track where they balance the aggressive thrash with some melody. I like that. And then Millie, that vocal line at 3 minutes. Don't what is it? Like don't try to take our dreams away from us. We will never be like you. Love us or hate us, it doesn't matter to us. We don't want to be part of this society. Again, I don't do well singing, so I'm not doing it justice. I'm kind of reading it, but you can imagine the way Millie says it. So and that's what I mean. Like almost every song on here, like Millie has these like way he pronounces the words that are just total vocal hooks. Like I love it. Some of my favorite vocals in metal here. But yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
Oh, wicked. Then Ken, give us the dirt behind the song here. What's the meaning here?
Well, it's kind of like an anthem, so it's their band, I guess if you want to call it like a mission statement. So
Mhm.
it's about the band, and basically they're writing about their defiance against mainstream media and music. And so what they're saying is that, we don't care what society thinks of us, we're Kreator, and this is our music. That's generally what the song's about. So, but I agree with what Billy was saying. Like the song is it's really good because there's a lot of good relentless chugs again. Right at the 32-second mark, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And then it gets vicious, right? Then it like you get right up to, and I love that minute about 125 mark. Oh man, those guitars,
Yeah.
they soar and they just sound like buzz saws and they just go, and it's great. It's like an engine that just doesn't stop, and it's fantastic. I love this song. This is a really good song as well.
And it's pretty safe. Like this album is 37 minutes 28 seconds, so it's fairly like for the thrash albums of the day, they were just starting to get a little bit longer. But prior to, a lot of them were around that third. Some of them even as low as 32 minutes. So it's got that kind of meaty. What about the lyrics here? All the lyrics on this album, I believe, are written by Millie. Correct? I think that's
I don't
if
know.
I'm not mistaken, I believe they are.
I
I
don't know.
think you don't know. No, yeah, I believe they are. So
I think
really,
Ken's
really cool.
frozen.
Oh, is he?
Isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Because he would definitely jump in on this question. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's keep going.
Okay. Well, we'll start with song 4 then. Stream of consciousness, and obviously Billy will wait for Ken to come in. Then I'm going to re-ask that question. But go ahead, take this one away.
Yeah, no, it's another like it's a thrash banger for sure. Uh, it opens a little slower, a little bit more mid pace for the first like 45 seconds or so. It kind of does a good job building tension, but then the track like explodes and the brutal like thrash kicks in, and it's like
Mhm.
everything I love about Kreator. It gets really heavy, aggressive, but always that little hint of melody kicking around that make Kreator so special. There's a great tempo change at like 127. Goes into a slower riff section, an amazing lead just past 2 minutes. It just everything's like great on the track, and Millie's vocals are just like razor sharp.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's another great track, no doubt. And one of the things too, like most of the songs, which I like, are fairly brief, right? Like you're not getting in. We have a couple coming up, but most are in the 3 to 4 minutes.
Right.
Like it's just a perfect time, right? You never overstay your welcome. The riffs, everything's like done really well, but then they don't start repeating, right? They know when to get in and get out.
Yeah, I think Ken's internet might have he popped off there, so hopefully he'll
Okay.
he'll jump back on there in a second. But yeah, I agree. That traditional thrash intro is amazing. You got the 45-second that heavy guitar riff. I mean, I love it. It's a fast, heavy, and the tempo changes are awesome. Like you were saying, this song just. I mean, you're song 4 into this, and it's just still an absolute like shred of thrash, and it just doesn't let you come up for air. So I mean, I absolutely love the song as well too. And like you say, I think the song lengths are exactly what's interesting. We got a couple of longer ones. Well, one coming up next is the longest one on the album, and then we have a couple of really faster ones as well. But I think the album length and time is perfect for what they're looking at here. So we'll come back if Ken jumps on here. We'll obviously get his feel on number 4. But Billy, take us away on number 5. Some Pain Will Last.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So I'm curious to your thoughts here, Jim.
Yeah.
So excuse me. I think all the songs on here are amazing. I've already said this is my favorite Kreator album.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to pick my least favorite song, it's actually this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, why, it kind of opens at a slower pace, or
For
the
sure.
slowest pace on the album so far. It has not that it's a bad thing. Like, this track seems to really emphasize Millie's vocals. There's like this slower metal groove to it. And you kind of got the tensions kind of building, the songs building. And it's not until like 3 minutes and 20 seconds where it finally like picks up the pace. But it's a disappointment for me because it's not extreme aggression that we get, right? It's like this lower level of extreme aggression. So I always want the song to do something and it doesn't do it, right? So I don't know, it's still a good song. I still enjoy it. But it's definitely my least favorite.
Well, we're kind of in agreement with that as well.
Okay.
I find it a little bit kind of darker and a little bit slower of a chug compared to like the first four tracks. You've got this sort of just a ripper of an album going along, and then you hit song 5. And yeah, obviously, we got 9 tracks, 1 through 9. We got to pick, like, if we were picking our best this would probably fall as my 9th as well. I mean, I like it 4:15. It has that kind of cool solo that leads into a kind of a really cool chug. But it has that ominous kind of intro, which is up until on this album, definitely was kind of unheard. There was nothing like it. So, and it's the longest song, just over 5 minutes. So I don't know if they were trying something different here or not, but yeah, I agree. It's probably towards the back end of the songs, and especially with what they're leading into with track 6.
Yeah.
Here's Ken. I think we got.
And I don't knock them for doing something different or
no
different, right? So it's cool. I mean, for me personally, it didn't work as well as the other 8.
Yeah. Hey, Ken,
right,
welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I moved to new location.
So my question was, I asked just before you went off, I believe Millie did all the lyrics for this album, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I thought so.
He's pretty much like the main lyricist in all the songs.
Perfect. So we had discussed.
And what did your internet freeze? Like literally freeze?
Sorry?
Minus 25 outside?
Yeah, totally. Totally. I was like, what's going on? It's like, it never goes down. I'm like, what the hell? Damn.
Oh, well, we're glad you're back.
Thank you. Yes, me too.
So song 4, we discussed 4 and 5, but we'll give you, song 4, Stream of Consciousness. Give us some breakdown on what's your thoughts on that track.
Yeah, that's a pretty good song. I like it as well. Like, there's a lot of, this is where they, like, lyrically, they get heavy into the whole existential theme about how life and death are like a continuous cycle. So it's kind of neat. They're sort of veering away from like serial killers and madness and murder. So it's interesting for that side of the song.
Yeah, it's funny. That's exactly what Jim and I said.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
We didn't read the lyrics.
That's okay.
We didn't say it.
But it's got like a catchy beat. The start, I think, like 46 seconds into it, you get the crunch, and Millie's vocals, like, he's so rabid as hell on here. It's so great. I like this one. And then you get that the tempo slows down at the 130 mark, and it kind of goes through, and then you get that nice solo at 215 onwards. Whoa, it's so good. Yeah. It's a really good song.
Well, and continue along with track 5 here. Some Pain Will Last. We both kind of had our own.
Don't say anything.
No. We want to hear your view of this song.
Okay, yeah, the song is interesting. The lyrics, again, they start going off into this interesting direction with their lyrics. So they're talking about hatred. So it's all about the idea of society, and then how they're being corrupted and destroyed, and how society is being corrupt, or nature, I should say, is being corrupted and destroyed. So I think it's kind of interesting. It's got a very bleak outlook. That, and the idea that you can't avoid pain. Like, basically, life is pain, pain is life. So I think it's kind of interesting. There's a slower part to start, of course. Then the guitars kind of pick up, mid-pace. The tempo's all right. The riffs are pretty good. It's the longest song on the album. I get a lot of Slayer vibes in this for some reason. for some reason Slayer comes to mind when I hear it. But I like it. There's a really nice the galloping tempo starts at the 320 mark, and then the second half, woo, it really picks up, and you get that nasty mean chug towards the end of it. I think it's a good song overall as well. What were you
I
guys
was saying I don't like it. It's my least favorite on the album.
really?
Yeah.
And I agreed that it was my ninth out of all 9
Okay,
songs.
all right. Maybe I like it because it's trying to do something a little bit different.
That's what we
Yeah,
brought
that's
up.
what we were saying. Yeah, they get credit for doing it. Like, I don't know. For me, it's like, the track's definitely slow to mid pace through most of it. And it does open it up towards the end, but I don't feel I get like that. Rewarded for waiting all this time. Right? I think the song maybe is too long. It could have been shortened a bit to get to the ending, but I don't know. Like, it's an okay song. Like, I don't mind it, but something's got to come in last, I guess.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, we've already hinted to this, so I'm going to let Billy take 6 here with Betrayer. I mean, can't deny Betrayer.
No.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, Kreator, I think this is, if memory serves me right, like on their last tour here with Testament, I think this is the only track they played from the album. I don't think they played Extreme Aggression. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I don't think they did. But they definitely played this. So, yeah, this was the single, like the music video. So that was cool. A lot of people discovered the band that way. It's a great thrash monster. I love it. It's a perfect balance of like Kreator aggression and heaviness, but there's that hint of melody again, right? Enough to tie the song back together that Kreator does so well. But it's relentless. It's intense. Like, I love it. Like that riff at like 138 or so.
Yeah.
It kind of drops in, the other instruments kind of go silent, and then the drumming kicks back in. It's really cool. Towards the end, all hell breaks loose, and there's like, Millie has another scream that almost comes close to extreme aggression at like 3:30. And I kind of like it, the ending, right? You think the song ends and then it returns for one more blast, Betrayer at the very end. So, yeah, it's great. A great track.
And Ken, what's your thoughts on this one?
No, Billy actually said all of it pretty much. Like, he nailed it for the song. I mean, I think it's basic. So they, like lyrically, he's taught the whole point of the song is that they're angry because they've been betrayed by someone they trusted, and that's good, and that's a really nice template to build a song around, right? So you get the galloping riffs, you get Millie who's like spitting it out, like it's real. And the chorus in this song is great. I can see why this song is played live probably at every show they do. It's just one of those songs where it just grabs you by the nuts and it doesn't stop. But yeah, this is a really good song as well. It's one of my favorites on this album.
Same here. I mean, I'd love to see this live. I'd love to see Kreator live, and I'd love to see this song being played. That's just very anthemic, and I think the video is like Billy was saying, got a lot of people probably checking these guys out, because that was in heavy rotation.
Yeah, so I love that. Like, Kreator really has a cool light show, and seeing this live, the lights are really good, right? Because it'll kind of go black, and then like Millie will shout "Betrayer," and then like you'll get the flashing like of the
they go with
like red, white, and red light, like, and then of course the song's at the heaviest part, and the flashing lights are perfectly matching the tone of the It's like a great experience.
Yeah, and Ken, have you seen Kreator?
Years ago, but I haven't. But I wanted to go to that recent show, Billy, but I missed it. But yeah, it's been a long
because
time.
they toured the hell out of Hate Uber Alice. Like
they did.
What a hardworking band, eh? Like, holy geez. I mean, it seemed like they were constantly touring, and I absolutely love that. I mean, I think they must have came to, I think they went to Montreal and Toronto maybe twice in the past year and a half, I think.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And kudos to them, right? Like, they they don't have egos. They don't have to be the headliner.
No,
I've also seen them tour Europe where as like an opening act for like a new metal band in the
really.
past, right? Like they're not afraid to like mix it up. Like they'll go where there's work.
Well, I
No,
think Millie just wants to play. He just wants to
Yeah,
play live, and
yeah.
and you
makes
said Billy, he'll like be amongst the crowd, like he'll go walking through,
Or
like
not
very.
Billy, no.
Sorry, not
No,
Billy.
not
No,
Billy. He's
no.
not. Yeah, no. He's very much. He seems to be very much keep it to himself
Oh, okay,
after the show. But
cool. Okay, so Ken, we'll start you off with "Don't Trust" track 7.
yeah. It's kind of a continuation of track 6 a little bit, like in
Yeah.
the lyrics wise, because they want to continue talking about the idea of distrust and skepticism at society. So they sort of go on that same kind of that wavelength. This is a good song too. It has a nice galloping chug at the start. I like the chug a lot. It's a really good headbanging song
Mhm.
and has a really catchy pace. And the vocals here are great. I find that they get a little processed or something like a whisper halfway through,
at
which is
2:30,
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
2 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of interesting. It was like, oh, what's going on here? It's something small, but it kind of breaks the song up a little bit. But really, overall, it gets that really nice solo at the 2:47 mark, which I like. So yeah, it's another really good song.
I think with this song, it's got such a cool classic thrash sound to it, and it has such great flow that if Kreator was to have a top 40 song, this would probably be it. Like be a little bit more accepted to the masses as a thrash track, because it's got that such a good classic thrash sound to it. Billy, what's your thoughts on "Don't Trust"?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I mean, you guys said it all. Like, I agree with all that. The For me, re-listening to this album, like the past, I was going to say week, but it's 2 weeks. We're a week away. But I actually forgot about this song. Like,
Oh, really?
so like in my mind, like I remember all the songs, and this came on. And not to say it was not a memorable song. I don't know why. I just forgot about it. It was kind of cool to rediscover it again. So yeah, I know I like it. Again, I agree with everything you guys said. Like, do you think this has a bit of an old Metallica feel?
Yeah, I think that's where
Yeah,
I get the
yeah.
classic thrash groove from.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I could hear it. I could hear it.
yeah,
yeah, for
I think
sure.
Metallica's pretty much influenced everyone at some point.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Every thrash band would have heard a new Metallica, so I could see that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So Billy, take us into track 8, "Bringer of Torture."
Yeah, so I have a huge complaint about this track, and
Okay, I
it's
figured.
because
Really?
it's too damn short.
Yeah.
I actually like the track.
2 minutes 15 seconds.
Like I don't know, I mean, to me, this could have almost been something that could have been on Pleasure to Kill,
Yeah.
maybe. Like it's more brutal, it's a bit more raw aggression. Whereas, the rest of this album, I guess you could call a little bit more sophisticated aggression. And
Mhm.
this one's a little bit more raw aggression. But yeah, I love it. Like I love Millie singing, like it's old school. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why it's only 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It should be a 4 minute song.
I agree. I wrote way too fast. It starts up and then it finishes. It's like, and I agree. I love that little moniker you made there. The rest of the album's kind of sophisticated aggression. I love that. That would have been a great title for the album, "Sophisticated Aggression." So Millie, if you're listening,
It wouldn't sell as well as Extreme.
I like that though. Ken, what's your thoughts on this fast one?
Yeah, I think this is good because it's like the song's about child abuse. So
Yeah.
if you listen to the lyrics and you isolate them, you can tell it's about this little girl and then her innocence has been taken away. It's nasty, and I think it works. I think for the length of the song, I don't mind it. I mean, I what Billy's saying is true. It should be longer for sure,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's very it's poignant. It's very potent, and I think that's great. So it leaves you wanting more. So
Right.
and that's a great lead into the next track, I think.
Well, Ken, take us to the next track. here we are at the end of the album, Fatal Energy. I mean,
Yeah.
are we looking at this being like a 1-2 punch with a great starter, a great finisher? Take it
Well,
away, Ken.
it's a
What's your
1-2
thoughts?
punch. It's a 1-2 punch. Fatal
Yeah.
Energy is really good. I mean, it's a domineering guitar track for me. It's got those squealy guitars like 40 seconds in. There's a really nice chug. It's really nasty. It's got a really good pace to the song as well, and it quickens when you get to that solo. And it's a really good song. I like it as a closer. It's all about how destructive humanity is and how all our actions will lead to society's downfall. Which this is like a typical thrash trope for songwriting. So I think it works, and you get echoes of Metallica, you get echoes of Destruction in here. I hear a little bit of everything, but that's why I like it, though.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to end off the album, and I'm glad they didn't come up with any sort of I'm glad the record company didn't talk them into doing some sort of cover or something like that. I love this. I think at that 48-second mark when the drums take off, this is definitely a drum track, and I mean Millie sounds so good on it. Billy, I get the feeling you love this track. I don't know, something tells me about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like one of my favorite tracks. Great way to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a few phases in the track, like Ken said. It's got like this good like chug to start out. There's some really cool guitar doodles that are out there, but then it finally gets into like thrash mode at 45 seconds. This has Millie's got some good vocal variety on the track. He's not just singing in one tone here. I mean, he's got hooks all over the place, and no doubt about that. Again, somebody said that the drumming, like the rhythm on this thing is really good. They know how to make it heavy when it needs to be heavy. That guitar lead at 3 minutes is fantastic. Again, I talked about the drumming. Just a great way to close. It's got some of the best features of every song of the 8 songs above, all
Good
kinds
point.
of back together and combine to bring it together and hit it home. So yeah, I couldn't have picked I mean, well, I know it's a perfect closer. I'm not going to get into Betrayer would be an equally good closer, but it doesn't matter.
And what's neat, what I like about this song and I like about this album is you go into the next album, the first song, When the Sun Burns Red. When the sun, I find it's a continuation. You've got that continuation from this album, and I think that's really, really cool, and that's it's pretty neat. But yeah, I love this as a final track as well. I'm glad 9 tracks, 37 minutes. I agree with you guys. Probably number 8 could have been a heck of a lot longer. We could have hit that 40-minute mark, and I wouldn't have complained. Or even a full-on other track, actual track, maybe before this one would have been really cool. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the best Kreator albums. I absolutely love it. What's your guys' thoughts on I mean, you guys love this album too.
I think it's funny what you just said. Like for 1989 to not have a cover song is pretty rare.
That's true.
Right? Like most have a cover song. Yeah. Like, I'm glad it doesn't, but like that's as I think about it, it's odd that it doesn't, given it's only 37 minutes.
Well, I also think you think Epic Records is like kind of, hey guys, change the cover. Maybe we need to get something a little bit more recognizable to the masses, and I'm glad they didn't. God, could you see another version of, I don't know, Anarchy in the UK or something like that?
No.
Even though Kreator would destroy it and kill it, but still, Ken, your thoughts on this album?
Yeah, I like the album quite a bit. Coma is still my favorite of the two. Yeah. I prefer Coma a bit more, but I mean, really, you can't go wrong with anything. Terrible Certainty is a really good album. This album is good. Even Coma, and even Renewal. I still like Renewal quite a bit. It's a guilty pleasure for me. Some people say it's got too much industrial metal influences, but I don't. Yeah, you don't like it, eh, Billy? That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Some people like it. I mean, I like it. I don't have a problem with it too much. It's the two after that I don't like as much. Cause for Conflict And what's the other one? Cause for Conflict.
Oh, the one with the Hold on, jeez.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. Renewal, Cause for Conflict.
Outcast.
Scenarios of
Yeah.
Violence. No,
I don't like the vocals, and I can't
Outcast.
stand his vocals in either album because he's like, I'm gonna try and do like a shouting punk style. It doesn't work for him. I don't
What
like
did you
it.
guys think of Endorama? Like, did you guys like that one?
I like Indorama. Believe it or
Yeah?
not, I like it. I know it's not a thrash album. It's a total whatever you want to call it, goth record. I don't know, but I actually don't mind it for what it is. I mean, it to me, if you want my honest opinion, it sets up the next album, Violent Revolution, which is
Right.
like their return to thrash, and then Enemy of God, which is one of my absolute favorite
Oh,
Kreator
yeah.
albums. So like, and then from there they just sped back up into the genre and put out great albums afterwards. But
Oh, Hordes after that, yeah.
yeah, Hordes is good too. Yeah. There's nothing bad. They haven't put out a bad album really in the last, I don't know what, 20 years maybe.
What did you guys, Billy? What's your thoughts of their last album? I really liked it. It got a kind of a little bit of a. I read a lot of great reviews, and then I read a lot of negative reviews. But I always think Kreator, other than what they did kind of in the '90s to some degree, they tend to tweak it a little bit, and I found they did that. I really liked it. I liked that the track there with the singer, the female singer that came on with the chainsaws in the video. Billy, what's your thoughts of the last album?
There's plenty there to like. Like, I mean, it's hard to hate a Kreator album.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just felt that was starting, like, the sound is starting to get a bit, like, I don't know, stale's the word.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, it's getting a bit samey with the last kind of two or three albums. Again, I liked it. Like, I own it.
Yeah.
I went to see the tour. Like, I still have a fun time listening to the songs live. But yeah, like I probably prefer like going back of the post the experimental period.
Yeah.
Like for me, I definitely prefer like Hordes of Chaos or Enemy of God are the two preferred albums.
Yeah, Ken, your thoughts on the last album? You thought it was okay?
I like the last album. I'm like Billy. I do kind of hear it's sort of. Yeah, you can see the style. You can only take it so much, and then it starts to wane a little bit. I think it's a good album. I like the previous album a lot better, though. 2017?
Phantom Antichrist.
Yeah. Phantom Antichrist. I kind of like that. Oh, Gods of Violence. Sorry, in Gods of Violence.
Oh, Gods of Violence. Yeah.
Gods of Violence. I liked a lot, but you can start to see where the template, and it's gonna happen. Like you're around for 40 years, the template's is gonna eventually slowly like crack. It's just life. It's just the way it is. And you get older too. These guys, you have to understand, they're not like kids freaking and screaming out like they were in their early 20s. They're grown adults in their 50s and 60s, and they start to slow down. But
right.
But I don't think they really have a bad album. I can't really think of one, to be honest. They're all decent.
Yeah.
I can think of three.
Okay. Well, yeah, we know Renewal's one, Cause of Conflict, and Outcast.
Endorama.
No, so okay, if it's three, Billy, then
I know, so it's probably four, to be honest.
I was gonna say Endorama. You probably don't like that one as well, right? No? Okay. I don't know. I can appreciate what Millie was trying to do. I mean, I'm not saying they're great. None of those albums are super great, but I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to fold up your tent and say, I'm not going to play anymore? You just, you mature, you change. It happens to everyone. It's just the way life is. No one stays the same, right?
So that ties up the album, guys. We're going to head into our top 10, but we kind of threw a different twist in it this time around. We wanted to go with our top 10 or top, doesn't have to be in any sort of order. Some of them I don't even have dates for because some of them they're not released yet, but on our most projected, what we're excited for releases coming up. It can be really any metal, thrash, death, whatever. Who wants to go first, guys?
I'll go first.
Okay, you're up, Ken.
All right, so number 10 at the gates. The rumor is that they are putting out a new album this year, which is hopefully. I like their last album, like their last two. It's not the classic sound, but I've always liked their albums. So I'm looking forward to it. Number 9, the other rumor is Haunted, so they're kind of like I guess a brother, kind of like a sibling band. The Haunted are rumored to be putting out a new album this year, so the Boiler Brothers are back. We'll see where they go with it. I'm kind of excited about that. Number 8, Exodus. Of course, I was excited, but then when I found out that that Zetro was leaving, I was like, oh, so I'm not as excited as I was originally, but I'll keep an open mind and we'll see. I mean, I don't even know if it's going to come out this year. We'll have to. I know they're going in the studio in February to record, so we'll have to wait and see. Number 7, I like Alter Bridge. I've always been a fan of their stuff. Mark Tremonti's an incredible guitar player. I love their stuff. They're rumored to be putting out a new album later in the year. I don't have a date, but I know that they're talking about it. I like their last album, so we'll see where this one goes. Number 6, Shadows Fall. Of course, one of my favorite bands. They inked a new deal this past year or I think it was last year, with MNRK Records or MNRK Heavy Records. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm excited. We'll see where they go with it. They did release that one song at the end of the year, and I like that song quite a bit. So I'm excited. Number 5, Ministry. Their supposedly final records coming out. Paul Barker is back in the band, so we'll see where the collaboration between Al and Paul go. But hopefully, I like the last Ministry. Well, actually, I like the last 3 Ministry albums. I've liked them all.
Same here.
So yeah, so we'll see where they go with it. I'm curious. Number 4, Destruction. That's coming out in March. From the song I've heard, I liked. We'll see where it goes. Although the only asterisk I'll put here is that they're starting to get a little samey. The last few albums have been all right, but all right. You kind of so you get what you get with Destruction, but yeah, that's
their video for one of their singles, their Destruction, We Are Destruction.
Yeah,
that's wicked, man. That's well-produced video from South America. I thought that was wicked. I put it on my Facebook last night.
It was. It's good. Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, I have to look at this.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, me too.
Sorry.
No worries. No problem. Number 3, I have Sacred Reich. Now, there's a lot of funny things going on here with this band because they announced in 2023 they were putting a new album out. They announced in 2024 a new album was coming out and nothing happened. So we will have to wait and see if 2025 is the magical number and a new album comes out. I hope it is. I did like the last album quite a bit from 2019. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Number 2 is Testament. We all love them, and we all know that they're working on a new album. So I'm very curious. I know Chuck Billy's been teasing this for a while now, so I'm curious to see how this is going to sound. New drummer, new attitude. So we'll see. But
I know what your number 1 is.
You do? Okay. Yeah, there's no guarantee it's going to come out though. I'm hopeful that Anthrax is releasing the new album. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like they keep teasing it. Yeah, we're working on it. We're getting it done.
We need a single.
Yes, exactly. I would like to hear a single.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that's my most anticipated album of the year.
Wicked. Billy, any crossover there with yours?
Surprisingly, very little. Yes. I mean, obviously, we're going to have the Exodus and Testament, but I think that's it.
Okay. Cool.
So I have, again, no particular order. Dream Theater, Paranoia. Again, just really, I want to hear Mike Portnoy back in the band. So they did kind of lose me. Like I'm more of the first half of the career of the band. I prefer. So we'll see. The 2 singles are pretty cool.
Wicked.
I think it's as good as the first half of the band, but that's just me. Like where I prefer where they were back then. But
I love it.
They're good. I just like that first half of the career best. But anyways, number two, a little Canadian content, Sacrifice Volume 6. That's supposed to be February 21st. So we'll see Dream Theater February 7th. Next up, I have a Brainstorm. So German metal, power metal, great band. They're February 28th. It's called Plague of Rats. So
I heard it.
yeah, I heard it too. Sounds good. Excuse me. Number four, Hyrax, Faster Than Death.
Yes.
Yeah.
February 28th. So I don't know. They apparently released an EP last year.
Yes.
Like the band was at Wacken. I saw them, and the singer's like, I've got a whole bag of the EP. I'm gonna be selling it on the grounds. I never saw them, so I couldn't buy it. But I don't even know how I would have paid for it because Wacken's completely cashless.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know how that would have worked. But number five on the modern side, Warbringer, March 14th.
Yes.
Wrath and Ruin. The new single sounds pretty cool. Was it a better world or a better word or something?
A better word.
World. No, it's a better world.
Yeah, something like that. That was really cool. Again, so that's the end of official date. So all of these could be pushed. Like the new Coroner album, again, it's been talked about forever, but the band said last year, like they're in the studio. So who the hell knows? I mean, new Dark Angel album. The band was talking about playing all the song or most of the songs live
At the Whiskey.
Yeah, at the Whiskey, but then they had to cancel it because of the LA fires. So I was hoping to finally hear the new song. So yeah, I mean, the last album was my favorite, Time Does Not Heal, 1991. So it's been forever. Exodus, Ken talked about that. Testament. Again, I have no idea. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that goes to 2026. There was a quote from Alex Skolnick who said he thinks it should be listenable by the end of 2025.
Really?
So complete contrast to everything we heard before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's taken out of context or what, but I don't know. And then again, I don't know if this will be 25 or early 26. The new Forbidden album with Chewy as writer.
Forgot about that.
Can't wait to hear what the hell he's going to do on that album. That's going to be really, really interesting. Does it sound like Voivod? Does it sound like Forbidden? Like, I don't know. So yeah, that's my number 10. And a couple quick honorable mentions. That damn last Sabotage album, Herding Call. Again, hopefully it comes out this year. That was the plan. Zentrix are working on a new album.
Yeah.
And then a band I've mentioned many times, one of my favorite, Germany's Paradox. Mysterium was supposed to come out, and then the singer put out this like super long message on Facebook, and I have no idea what it means, but that might get pushed. He's just saying the album's delayed due to an unnamed protagonist, and it's a mess. Right? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
That's weird.
So, and then he's like, and the protagonist will be unnamed. Like, you keep saying it's the unnamed protagonist. So, whatever. I don't know. So, yeah, that's my list.
Wicked list. We had a kind of a lot that were the same there. So, I had my number 10. Well, not in any particular order, although my number 1. Number 10, I had Warbringer, Wrath and Ruin. I love that song, A Perfect World. That's wicked. I mean, I these guys are wicked. Number 9, I've got Cryptosis, Celestial Death. That's coming out on March 7th. Number 8, some of my stuff, like I love Avantasia. I've got this on February 28th, Here Be Dragons. I like the first 2 singles. One's a little poppy, but I don't mind it. It's Avantasia. You gotta get into it. And the second one they released last week was kind of like a power metal, really cool power metal tune. I think it's pretty cool. My number 7's kind of one that I don't know if you guys are totally into. I like Killswitch Engaged.
They're all right.
Yeah, so The Consequences out February 4th. I like these guys. Number 6, Robin McCauley's third, I think, solo album is coming out, Soulbound, on February 28th. I think I've put both his videos up on my Facebook. Love this guy. Love the sound, the singing. I mean, he's got such a catchy kind of an 80s vibe. I really, really like it. I liked his last album that came out, I think, in 22, which was Alive.
Yeah,
that's a good album.
Really, really liked it. Number 5, Destruction. I hope it's the same. I hope it's Destruction, because man, the first 3 singles are fantastic. That video, I couldn't believe it was out for 2 weeks. I never even saw it. I streamed the video last night and I threw it on my Facebook. It is such a well-produced video, man. Gets you excited. Like, I can't wait for this album. I mean, this is going to be awesome. I have that on pre-order. When I wrote this was 2 weeks ago, so I had Tokyo Blade, Time is a Fire, which was out on January 17th. So that's already out. I've listened to it. I want to order it, but it's just not available yet. But it sounds really, really cool. Kind of a cool band. I got some of their older stuff. My number 3 is Dream Theater. Can't wait. I'm debating. I haven't ordered it yet, only because I might get I don't know. They have 3 versions of the album. They've got the regular one, the extended 2 CD, and then they've got this $75 jobby. So I'm fighting with myself. I mean, the single album is going to be long enough, probably. So but I mean, I'm just with Portnoy back in. This is just I'm so happy they're coming out with a new album. My number 2 is Sacrifice Volume 6. Really high hopes for this album. I think it's going to be wicked. And my number 1's Anthrax. I am hoping for Anthrax. They got to come out with something, man. I'm hoping at least by April. I'm giving them to April. I'll even push it back to May. They got to hit us with a single, an album cover, a single. Get it up on Apple Music. Come on, guys. Like, apparently they're so close, but I'm hearing so close, but then not so close. I don't know.
If it was close, like in March, there'd be a release date by now.
Yeah, it's true.
April or May, there'd be a release date.
I don't know. Metallica did it that way, though. Metallica came out with their album, released a single, and then had the release date in June. And that was like,
but they don't have to listen to. Yeah, but they don't have to listen to record fucking execs. They can.
Yeah, it's true.
They're an empire unto themselves, right? So they can do what they want.
I just think this Anthrax album, like, so many people are waiting for it, man. Yeah. Like, first off, I hope the first single they release is just going to blow everybody away, and I really hope it just captures. But yeah, I know I don't think it's going to be out at the end of 25.
Well, you never know.
And maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, but they could sneak a single in at the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Well, they got to do what Priest did. I like what Priest did. Priest released 5 singles. So their album was released, I think, in March of last year. But they started releasing in November. So they hit 2 before the year even finished. So, like, people were doing top 10 song lists, and their songs were on it, and they didn't even have an album out till in March, I believe. So that of the next, the next March. So I thought that was pretty genius in a way, because it kept them. I mean, they got so much mileage out of 2024 and part of 2023 because of it. I thought that was pretty cool. So even though just about half the album was released prior to the rest of the half. So, but anyways, it's kind of what you got to do nowadays anyhow.
Well, I'll add on to the Anthrax point for you though, Jimmy. I would assume a lot of the guitar parts are done because Jonathan is now fully committed to Shadows Fall.
Yeah,
because they're putting out they're working on new material, and I think they're going to tour. So my assumption is he's already done his guitar parts, he's finished, and that's why maybe there's a good chance maybe it could come out later in the year. Like, I mean, later winter time maybe.
But isn't everybody just saying Belladonna's just got to get his he's just got to get his vocals done? Like,
well, I think he's finished as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he's finished as well.
Wow. Man.
Chances are it could be later in the year.
You're going to have to call up Scotty and light a firecracker under his ass.
Get going, Scott. Come on.
Anyways, guys, that's our show. So do you guys have anything else?
No. We're all good. Just let Billy announce next week's show.
Yes, that's right.
Since it's his show.
Episode 44 coming up. You have the helm.
Yeah, we're it's about time we probably do this band. They've appeared on many of my top 10 lists on the show, but
Yeah.
so we're gonna do Swiss band Coroner. And it was tough to pick which album. They have so many good ones, but I guess we'll do their classic Punishment for Decadence.
Decadence, yeah, good album.
Wicked album. You know, that's one of the ones that when we're talking about shows, Billy throws like 3 or 4 albums up there, and we're all like, "Yeah, just you pick one, Billy."
Yeah,
We're
pick
good with all
whatever.
of them.
Yeah. Pick whatever, dude.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
they're all
awesome.
good. They're all
Oh
good.
yeah.
So,
Well, guys, on that note, I guess we'll call it, and have a good night, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.
yep. Have a good night.
Night.